Today I want to talk about biometric sensing signals from the body, and kind of wax a little philosophical and speculative about what the future looks like for biometric sensing and how we may use that to augment our cognition, and then how we might make that more accessible to more people and really democratize that technology so it's serving everyone. A little bit about my background. I got my PhD in neuroscience in 2009, studying memory and how oscillations in the brain serve encoding and retrieval functions. And since doing my PhD, I kind of shifted gears out of academic science into industry, where I've tried to kind of bridge academic and industry type research a bit, and I'm going to talk about some of that today. So my current venture is I run a technology consulting company, and we help people sense signals from the body, among other things. I also have taught over the years at a number of places, so I try to keep one foot grounded in education and gaining that sort of perspective and inspiration from the students. And then I also work as a new media artist. And a lot of my new media art is actually biofeedback art, sensing signals from the body and doing stuff with it. So these are some examples of my work in the past. There's one called Vital Threads Biofeedback Apparel that sensed electrodermal activity and lit up a wristband, which I'm actually wearing today. So when it's blue, I'm calm, and then if I smack myself, it lights up red because I got angry about that. A shirt that flashes with my heartbeat, and a hat that lights up with my brain activity. And then I've also created an installation that when you touch it, picks up your heartbeat and lights up the room and kind of uploads things to the internet and kind of asks the question where the human body is ending and where the internet begins. And then there's also a piece called Hive Mind, which picked up brainwaves from two performers and then flashed a screen behind them that the other performer looked at and trained their EEG oscillations, and sort of created this kind of direct brain-to-brain through light communication, which actually debuted at the Rixey Art Science Festival a few years back. So that's kind of some of my background, and what I really want to talk about today is this kind of more speculative, futuristic idea of augmented cognition, and how that's already in the present to an extent. So I think I wrote an article with some folks in Patty May's lab at MIT this last year on this topic, and you can check that out if you want some more detail. But basically, in the future, it's very likely that signals from the body combined with machine learning are going to be changing aspects of our reality. They already do, but it's going to increase probably at an accelerating pace. And so I'm interested in what that means. And so just to sort of contrast that with what is currently possible, last year there was a paper that came out that used machine learning to predict psychosis. Psychosis is devastating. Having a psychotic break is devastating for the person. It disrupts their lives. It disrupts the lives of their friends and family around them. So to be able to predict it and potentially intervene would make a really big difference in a lot of people's lives. And it's an interesting idea to think about predicting and intervening into psychosis. We're now raising the specter of who was in control, who's creating that algorithm, who's flipping the switch, what is that intervention? Is it driven by a drug company, for example? What are their motivations? And I think also what's possible right now and what's going to become more and more prevalent is the idea of reality filtering. So if you, for example, it's really easy to use computer vision to detect a donut these days. So if you're trying to be more healthy, maybe you want to block donuts from your augmented reality or your virtual reality view so that you can be healthier. And so I think this is a powerful way to kind of cognitively intervene into the stimuli that are going to trigger you. It would also be interesting if Dunkin' Donuts had control over this algorithm, and if they were picking up your biometrics and identifying when you were craving a donut, and then maybe a Dunkin' Donuts ad would pop up. So there's kind of this duality, and I'm really interested in what separates these kind of utopian versus dystopian futures. And I don't think there's any one thing. I think there's a lot of little things. But one thing I've been thinking about is really bringing more voices into the conversation about what biometrics mean, how they should be used, and including perspectives from researchers to artists, first world, third world, disadvantaged, advantaged, and really bringing everyone together and making sure that these technologies are representing everyone's voices and hopefully serving everyone to the greatest degree possible. And so, kind of dovetailing that with my life in technology, I've been waiting for over a decade for somebody to make a biometric device that can pick up research-grade biometric signals at an affordable price and really deliver the data in a form and of an integrity that allows you to go deeper into it and not stay at kind of a superficial consumer level. And what I realized over the years is that there was kind of this research grade bucket, which tended to be expensive and had good signals, sometimes wearable, sometimes less wearable. And then there's a consumer grade bucket, which tended to have impoverished signals. You tended to need to give your data over to the largest corporations in the history of the world, and a number of other drawbacks. And so at some point it hit me, maybe the reason it doesn't exist is because my lab needed to make it. And so that's how the idea of EmotiBit was born, out of the notion that it's a weird set of skills and motivations that goes about building this kind of cheaper, super high quality wearable sensor to pick up all these signals that nobody really knows what to do with entirely yet. But I was really motivated to democratize biometric sensing because I wanted something that was super easy to get people in the door. I wanted it to be wearable, easy to use, open source, have high quality, high value data, and give the data to the user. Let them own it completely and let them send it places if they want. And also make it affordable. A fraction of the cost of many of the research-grade devices on the market, so that researchers and artists and DIYers and personal health enthusiasts and educators and students, everybody could be a part of that conversation about what these signals mean and what they should be used for, what they should control about the world. And so key to that was making it easy to use. So I'm going to fire up, I've actually got an EmotiBit on my finger right now. We tried to make it really easy to put in a number of places, and I'll show you examples of wearing it on the forehead. We had a collaborator in Canada make a 3D printed case so they could put it on snowboarders on their calf, and a variety of other things. But But right now, this is measuring from my finger, and this is my data coming live over the signal. So you can see if I move around, the IMU data is going to be moving around over here. You can see my heartbeats coming through. This is my electrodermal activity. So if I smack myself, you'll see a little bit of a delay. And then let me see. I was up late trying on Skype calls with China last night, so it's possible my biometrics are a little wackadoo. Oh, there we go. And then there's also body temperature sensor, and all this data is streaming live, and also being recorded to an SD card on the device itself for high integrity and really high ownership. I took some notes in Jonah's talk. I'll take a note right now. We'll just say oscilloscope, shorthand. And so now that note is being logged directly onto the SD card as well. And we're working on making it easy to send the data elsewhere. I'll show you an example of sending that data over OSC, which is a common stream that artists use to send data around. But we're also working on opening up other channels so that whatever channel makes sense to you, we can make it work. It's kind of our hope. So that's just a little bit about what EmotiBit looks like. And then this is an example of EmotiBit being used last, I guess it was last summer. Artahack, in the middle of a pandemic, pulled together people from hackers from around the world to dial into a dance studio in New York, where a dancer had the EmotiBit. There were actually two dancers. This is one of them on his body, and then the hackers would gather that data live and manipulate it and use it to manipulate this virtual environment that you see here. And so his signals were triggering things like sounds and the colors of words and things like that. And then that culminated in in this.
There's no sound.
Thank you. How do I do that again? Share sound?
Sure. Yes, share sound.
Cool.
By Razvan Stoya draws on language to describe the perceptual experience of otherness.
I'm going to skip ahead so you can see the next performer.
The next presentation, performed by Hussein Simcoe, examines an individual's journey of finding mental strength and resilience in the face of adversity and chaos.
So this was just a very short clip. If you go to this Vimeo link here, you get a full 16-minute compilation of the performances that were broadcast live on this awesome platform called Electron. And so we've been working with artists and educators and researchers and quantified selfers, and have been really fortunate that people have, it's really resonated with a number of people to have this access to high quality data and be able to start doing things with it. And we're just starting with this one step in a staircase and hoping to expand this into a larger biometric ecosystem that allows people to share code and data and lots of other things as well. And you can see we've worked with all kinds of folks, from industry to academia, research, education. And the hope is that through this, people will start asking more questions, and maybe ask better questions, bring new contexts and perspectives, and consider the future, consider the ethics of all of this at a younger age, and really kind of immerse ourselves in these concepts. And we've been really fortunate this last year. We launched on Kickstarter and were successfully funded, and OpenBCI is now in pre-order at openbci.com, where we're going to start shipping. We're aiming to start shipping in February. So thank you very much. And as I mentioned, I'm recording my biometric data right now. I'm going to post it on social media from this talk. So if anybody wants to look at my listen to my reaction and then view it in biometric signals, that will also be possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Okay, so no time for the one or two questions, please.
I have a question, Sean. Because you actually work with a very sensitive field, which is biometric, capturing biometric data and interpreting data, which as Ellen and Jonas before you mentioned that it's very difficult when it comes to ethics, but also the BS that are involved with the algorithms to calculate the data. And when you showed the project of anticipating when someone has a mental breakdown, somehow I remember a bit Oscar Wilde, like there is no such a thing as bad publicity, and in addition to what Jonas mentioned, but once a technology, no matter how bad it is installed in the fiber of society, it stays there for decades and centuries. So the entity is like, okay, this is very dangerous because if you can detect when someone is having a breakdown, actually years ago I made a theater piece about it, but in a very ironic context that people can try to use as breakdowns to transform us in weapons. Like, it was about the CIA capturing people when it is on the border becoming suicidal to use them as weapons. But that's the thing, like, instead of capturing, isn't it better to research technology that can prevent?
Well, so I think that's an important part of the conversation as well. What I've kind of come to over time is that this is not going to be stopped, and the reason isn't because of some big bad company or whatever, but the reason is that we're going to want it, because there's going to be so much possibility that comes from it, just the same as stopping the written word or stopping the hammer. I think that it's a tool and it's going to come. And I think one of the drivers is going to be, if you're able to have your information filters be highly tuned and you're able to buy stocks better than the next guy, you're going to do it, right? If you can be the smartest person in the room on the stockroom floor, you're going to wear these biometrics, and I think that's going to be true across disciplines and across industries and to a large extent. So that's, you know, when I started thinking about that, that's when I started thinking about how more than whether than if, and started thinking about how to move the needle into, you know, slightly to the utopic direction. I think it's going to be messy, but I think with some principles, you know, open source being one of them, I think that will be helpful, having more voices. I think, you know, that's how I'm thinking about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. One question was great. So we thank you, Sean and Gay, and we move to the next presentation today. Vincenzo